Hello and happy new moon in Sagittarius. Technically, the exact new moon was on November 30th at 10:21 p.m. Pacific time. So that puts it in, depending on your time zone, could be Saturday or Sunday for the exact new moon. And so let's celebrate it both days. I'm Marina Orms here with your Astro Vibe for Sunday, December 1st. And with the new moon in Sagittarius, we have some interesting configurations with Mercury retrograde opposing Jupiter this week after its first opposition to Jupiter. So this opposition between Mercury, which is the ruler of Gemini, which is where Jupiter is, Jupiter being the ruler of Sagittarius, and Sagittarius being the theme of this current moon cycle, or this moon cycle that is beginning with today's, depending on the day, exact new moon. So we're beginning a Sagittarian moon cycle. We are looking to Jupiter to better understand the themes that this Sagittarius moon cycle is going to be inviting us to look at and think about and work through. And we've got Mercury opposing Jupiter, further fleshing out the story of how all of these planets are speaking to one another and how it shows up in our lives in terms of communication, thinking, beliefs, belief systems, how we think about things, what is the story and where is it coming from, and what are we choosing, and how are we informing ourselves, and all of these questions. So in yesterday's video, my video for November 30th, when the moon is new for Pacific time, West Coast folks, I went into a little more depth on the exact new moon and the Sagittarian energy and how we can think about hope and what we want to feed so that it grows in the future. And today, let's just flesh it out a little bit more by looking at this Mercury Jupiter opposition. So very, very interesting dynamic we have here with this opposition between Mercury and Jupiter, because these two planets are what we call in mutual reception, meaning Mercury is in Jupiter's sign of Sagittarius, and Jupiter is in Mercury's sign of Gemini. So there is an interesting dynamic going on. Mercury being retrograde is about communication, thinking, data, information, how we know things and what we need to learn and where we're gathering our information and how we're sharing and exchanging information, how we are uh, speaking, listening, communicating, all of those things, including writing and broadcasting, which is more a function of Jupiter and Sagittarius. But all of these things come under this purview of the Mercury arena of thinking and ideas. And with Mercury retrograde, communication goes inward. So Mercury retrograde is in general a time when we review, we reflect, we reconsider, we go over places or thinking or ideas that we've already places we've already been in our thinking. So that might mean having to undo and redo something that maybe you did before by, computers crashing or data getting lost or that type of thing. But also, with Mercury retrograde, we do have an opportunity to look at things again, to go, okay, maybe you made a decision about this already, but you can look at it again. Maybe you need to reconsider. Maybe you need to do something differently. So, the function of our computer and data backups helps us to maybe make that a gentler process, right? But we still need to review and think about what happens when you lose data and you have to start over. You have a chance to do something again. And I mean, that can be frustrating and all kinds of things when you don't want to put the extra time and effort into redoing something you already did. But at the same time, you have that opportunity to do it even better, right? Now you've been around the block, you've done this already, you're doing it again. Maybe you're going to do it better. Maybe you're going to bring in some elements, some higher levels of thinking, or a better version of what you're doing because you have done it before. So when we do that process on purpose instead of waiting until our computers lose all of our data, it's it's more gentle, right? It's less painful. So do that process on purpose. This is a time to invest time in redoing something that you may have already done, or looking at something you already completed or already put in some work on. Go back, look at it again, think about it, think about what you want to do differently. So that's all Mercury retrograde. And then we have Mercury retrograde this particular time, this 3-week period that we are in from, when did Mercury go retrograde? So we're about 1 week into it. We've got a couple of weeks left. So this particular Mercury retrograde is in Sagittarius, asking us to review our thinking related to our bigger picture of how we are telling the story, how we are understanding, how we are making meaning out of the data, right? See, it's the difference between being in the forest and seeing the forest from above. And you can see the patterns of the whole from that bigger bird's eye view, that bigger picture perspective. You see how things are connected. You see what is the bigger organism that is created by the forest, right? That you cannot see when you're down in the middle of the trees. You see the trees, but you don't see the bigger picture of the forest. So, so thinking about how you are telling that story of the bigger picture, and asking yourself, questioning, reconsidering, reviewing, is the way that I'm putting the information together something that I want to review or revisit or rethink or redo? So asking ourselves, what are my beliefs? What is my understanding of, whatever situation you're thinking about? What's my understanding? What is my takeaway? What is the meaning of it all? And ask yourself, wait, how could I see this from a different perspective? How could I zoom out and see how I am making meaning out of this that maybe I want to rethink? How I'm reaching that conclusion, or how I'm connecting the dots, or how I'm seeing a pattern that I might see differently if I were to look at it from a different perspective. So that's what this Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius is about. We also right now have Jupiter in Gemini. Jupiter stays in a sign for about a year. So this placement of Jupiter in Gemini is an opportunity to expand Jupiter, seek abundance, growth, allow ourselves to grow and expand, and maybe get inflated in certain areas related to and playing out in the area of Gemini. So Gemini is our thinking, our ideas, our communication, all ruled by Mercury, which is again retrograde, asking us to rethink and revisit how we are seeing the big picture. So lots of opportunity here for reflection. And this, because we're beginning a Sagittarius moon cycle, this new moon in Sagittarius is the beginning of the cycle, is an opportunity to plant the seeds, to set our intentions, to kind of put our stake in the ground in terms of what it is we want to see grow. And when you're saying, this is what I want to invest in, this is what I want to see grow, this is what I want more of. When you're doing that on purpose, you're aligning with the growth and expansion of the things you want. If you are not doing that on purpose and instead you're dwelling on what you're afraid will happen or the things that you're worried about and afraid of, and you're making yourself smaller, guess what? That sense of growth and expansion is going to make you feel smaller and smaller and smaller. So we have choices to make in the context of these astrological energies. So again, like I was saying yesterday, and I highly recommend yesterday's video for bigger picture perspective on how we can think about growth and abundance and feeding the future, seeding the future that we want. I'll just reiterate for today that the more you invest in and make choices around the things that are good in your life, the sparks of hope, of creativity, of connection, of love, of things that breathe life into your life. And the more you can find those places and say, let's give a little energy, a little oxygen to this particular spark of goodness, whether it's something in your life, something in your community, something happening in the world, feed that goodness, help it grow, because this is growth energy, but it's also saying, be really clear about what you are putting your energy into, because it will grow. And so you want to be choosing on purpose, intentionally, the things that you want to bring growth to. So as we think about this and think about our possibilities for the world, and reminding ourselves that there is being realistic about some of the things that are going on in the world. It doesn't mean be Pollyanna or be in denial about some of the harder truths that you may come across, right? And it's true all the time that there are problems in the world, and you can focus on those problems. And I'm not saying to ignore those problems. I'm saying, how can you be part of the solution? And so to be part of a solution, you have to acknowledge what the problem is, why it's a problem, why you care about finding a solution, why you care about participating in a solution. And so for some of us, that's going to be being active or getting political. For others of us, it's going to be making a difference in our community. For others, it'll be the relationships that we cultivate and invest in, and are raising children, right? And being part of creating a society that does the things you want. So it's just about asking yourself, how do you want to do that? What makes sense for you? And how can you be part of making something good happen? And that might be, to some extent, thinking about the future you want, what gets in the way of it, and being an interrupter. Pluto in Aquarius says it's time to interrupt the things that are not, that we're not happy with. And again, working together with others, because if we're all interrupting and disrupting, we just have chaos. So we want to be coming together, building relationships, and thinking about how we can work together to create the positive changes that are important to each of us, and do that together, because in connection, in community, we have more ability to believe in ourselves and to see those things grow. So thanks for being here. I'm Marina Orms, and check out my website, astrologyheals.com, for opportunities to work with me, get a reading of your chart, and learn a little bit more about how you can think about your role in the world and what you want to personally be part of and invest in. We can dive in when I talk to people about their charts. I give you all kinds of tools to help you make the most of and leverage the energies that are natural to you, what you're good at, what you're learning about, what makes you happy, and doing all that as your path to being part of creating a world that is happier and feels good to you. So we can dive in doing a reading of your own chart and take a look at what that is for you. Check it out, astrologyheals.com. Thanks for being here and for subscribing and for sharing and commenting and telling a friend if you're enjoying these videos. Thanks again, and I will see you next time with more astrology for unshakable self-care. Bye for now.